My name is Laura Nasapak, and I am this year's VP of Communications for the Winkley PTA. And today we are going to be having a discussion about Black History Month with Eric Zeno. Eric is a fellow PTA member and a Winkley parent as well. And I will just preface this video by saying we were originally scheduled to meet on February 11th, but then snowvid, well, some may call it the winter apocalypse, and others may have just decided that Mother Nature was playing a huge prank on Texas that went bad. Wouldn't you say, Eric?
I agree.
So we had to postpone our discussion, and we are now recording on March 2nd, which is actually the start of Women's History Month. But Eric and I felt that it was too important to not continue to have this discussion that we're having today about Black History Month. So we're a little late, but we had good intentions, and here we are today. How are you doing today, Eric?
I'm doing great, Laura. Thank you for having me.
Well, I have some questions for you. I hope you are just as excited as I am to share all the information that we're going to discuss today.
I am. I'm excited about it.
All right. Well, just to give you guys a little bit of information about Eric, he is actually the Economic Development Director at the City of Lago Vista. But prior to that, he was the Economic Development Manager for the City of Leander. And he had the wonderful opportunity to introduce and lead the city's annual Black History Month celebration for Leander. Now, Eric, during your time of leading this program, can you share with us how the city celebrated throughout the month?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Laura. So during the month of February, the City Council would issue a proclamation declaring that the month of February would be Black History Month in the city of Leander. The library would also display artwork or paintings of Black history to showcase the Black history, where they would do paintings or artwork throughout the library throughout the month. I was fortunate enough to start and host a Black History Month program, educational program, which included a guest speaker. And at that program, I also would honor a Black in the community for their contributions to the city of Leander. Dinner was also served at that program as well.
That sounds like a wonderful program. I bet it really brought the community together. So in Leander ISD, the thing that I think we've all learned is that each school has its own approach for celebrating Black History Month. And, you know, it's up to that school to develop that program, likely with some guidance from the district. Do you have any suggestions for schools to consider for their celebration and education of our student community?
Yes, I would say, you know, educate, study, talk about Black history. If we don't study our history, we're bound to repeat our history. So, I mean, the educational piece of that is also not just for Blacks, it's for all races to learn about Black history. You know, a lot of times people say, well, it's Black history, we're going to just let a certain group, the Blacks, will go learn about it. But no, it's for all races. We need to learn more about Black history. And not only Black history, but all cultures and history. But since we're talking about Black History Month, you know, I want to let people know it's not just for Blacks, it's for all races to learn about it. You know, during that month, visit a Black History or Civil Rights Museum, you know, shop or visit a Black-owned business, you know, read a book about Black history. A lot of the TV documentaries during the month of February showcase Black History Month, you know, watch a program about Black history. So those type of things that I would think could be done.
Focusing on education and bringing history to light for everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Eric, I'd like to get a little more personal. Can you talk with us about what Black history means to you?
Yes, I can. I'm gonna have to make a comment before that. You know, first we're given the shortest month of the year, which is February, and most of the time it's one of the coldest months of the year. And as we just experienced a few weeks ago, the winter weather always sometimes puts a damper on the month of February, and so it's hard to do a lot of outside activities and even sometimes inside activities that we experienced. You know, with the weather that affected us in Texas here 2 weeks ago. But to answer your question, it means to recognize the considerable achievements and contributions of African Americans in the United States, a time of rejoicing, celebrating, thanking African Americans for giving us hope or a life lesson that can be used.
Who are some African American influencers, historical or current, that you admire that others may be less familiar with?
I admire people like W.E.B. Du Bois, the first African-American to earn a doctorate from Harvard. Madam C.J. Walker invented hair products for African-American women and traveled the world to promote her brand. She was one of America's first self-made female millionaires. So I want to say that again.
Wow.
She was one of America's first self-made female millionaires by promoting her hair products for African-American women. And again, I graduated from a historical Black college and university, Grambling State University. I have to give a shout out to Grambling State, the best college HBCU out there. But I would say people like Coach Eddie Robinson, who was the Grambling football coach in 1985. He broke Coach Paul Bryant's record for being the winningest coach in college football history at that time. Now, what makes that achievement even more of a big deal is that Coach Robinson, during that time, a lot of times that traveling to other cities and states, a lot of Blacks weren't allowed to eat in those restaurants or even stay in those hotels. So not only was Coach Robinson preparing his team to play a game, but he also made lunches for the team and drove the bus and took quilts and blankets and things for the team to sleep on the bus because, a lot of times they weren't allowed to eat in those restaurants or sleep in those hotels. So to make that even more of a big deal is that Coach Robinson not only was one of the winners as coach back in that time in 1985 when he broke Paul Brown's record, but he was also a leader of men, and he also had to do all the other things that other coaches had people probably to do, but he had to do all of that and still coach a football game. Also, I would say, again, another Grambling State University alumni, quarterback Doug Williams. Doug Williams became the first ever Black quarterback to start and win a Super Bowl. And again, I have to touch on the fact that back then, a lot of people believed that Black quarterbacks were dumb. They couldn't study the playbook. They didn't learn the schemes. Not only did Doug Williams know the schemes and study the playbook, he started and won the biggest prize in NFL history. Biggest prize that NFL players learned, the Super Bowl. So that was a great accomplishment as well.
Yeah. Sounds like you're a fan of sports.
I am.
Did you play football?
Yeah, I played football up until high school. I didn't play in high school, but up until football. But I've always enjoyed watching the sport of football. Of course, Grambling State University, I always cheer them on when they're playing.
That sounds wonderful. What is something Blacks express or experience that you wish others to know more about?
I'd like to say that Blacks, we often express ourselves through prayer, songs, and dance. Back in the day, picking cotton, we were singing and praying, marching, singing and praying, protesting, singing and praying. And if you've ever had an opportunity to see it, experience an HBCU college step show, which features the fraternity and sororities of that school, it's one of the precise dance steps and moves that I ever seen. And not only the step show, but the marching band. We're touching back on football, but if you ever get a chance to go to a historical Black college university football game, you're going to stay for the halftime show because to see those moves that the band put on, you got 50 or 100 band members, male and female, doing precise steps and precision, and they're all in step and in sync. It's one of the greatest shows that I've ever seen. So if you get the opportunity not only to enjoy the game, but also stay for the halftime show and watch that. So
that's something that you can feel it inside you when you watch shows like that. Yeah.
Yes, you can. Like I say, I tell people when I go to the football game, you ever see, most of the fans never leave during the halftime. Most go to the concession stand. No, they stay and watch the marching bands as well during the football games.
No matter how good the football game is going, you're staying for halftime.
or how horrible it is going as well. You're staying for halftime.
Right. All right. Well, from your viewpoint, how can we fight intolerance in our everyday lives?
I often like to say that Blacks, we suffer from intolerance fatigue, tired of the same old promise to do nothing, tired of seeing unjust killing of Blacks over and over again, tired of being passed on the promotion because of the color of our skin. I think how we fight that is that people that don't have Black skin like me need to get into the game. Let's stop talking about it. People that are not Black, step up, change some laws, make some laws, change the narrative, do some things, not just put it on Blacks, but others get up and speak about, the intolerance and make a difference, kind of, I like to say, be like Nike, just do it. So it takes a nation, not just blacks doing it, but it's going to take all of us to, fight that intolerance that's been unfortunately going through our society for some time.
Yeah, I know when you and I had spoken previously in preparation for our discussion, you talked about educate, 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 and how
Yes.
important that is. And it's educating not just in the month of February, it's educating all year long, every year.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Well, Eric, you are the co-chairman for the Winkley PTA Diversity and Inclusion Committee, and you also serve on the LISD Council of PTA's Racial Equity Committee, along with a number of other areas of the YMCA and things outside of the school as well. And as a leader in these groups, can you share your primary goals and the impact you envision these committees will have on our schools and community?
Yeah, my primary goal would be change, change minds, change hearts, change situations, change the narrative. My impact on those committees, that book is still being written. We're at the beginning of that. So how that story ends will determine whether or not myself or others on that committee have made any type of change, a positive or negative, on those committees. So again, my impact is all about changing. I want to change, again, minds, hearts, narratives, and I hope that while we're in the middle of that book, that the ending turns out that way, that, we do bring about some type of change in some of those committees to help our district. Because we have a great school district, and to continue that and just help our district not only be number one on the academics, but also be number one in diversity and inclusion. So just to enhance that in our district, that we already have a great district, but to enhance that level as well.
I know you and I have also talked about that diversity and inclusion isn't just about Black people, it's about all different types of people. It's making a statement to that everybody has their purpose and everybody is good.
I agree with you. Yes, and as you just stated, this is Female History Month, so once again, we this is part of the diversity and inclusion. Again, female. Look at you, are
Right.
not interviewing me. You're a white female interviewing a Black male, and so this is part of the Female History Month. So I appreciate you taking the time to do that for me as well.
Well, Eric, we're coming to the end of our discussion, and I would just like to know if you have any last words you'd like to share with us regarding Black history.
Yeah, we'll share this with Black history, but just about, history as well in the things that we're going through in today's society. But, the words you speak are normally an indication of what your heart is filled with. So I just please ask that everyone taste their words before they serve them these days. If we could taste our words before they serve them, I think we have a better district, society, world, and all included, and do the thing that we all, our Constitution states that we all should have and share as human beings in this world.
Yes, that's so true, and such an important statement to make, and I'm glad we ended it with that, Eric. Well, thank you, and can't wait to see more of what's going to come out of our committees and push forward into next year, where hopefully we'll be able to do more in-person activities regarding Black History Month, since this year we, had to do it all virtual.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for taking the time to interview.